It is the ghost that has haunted the fight world for more than a decade, the mythical showdown fans whispered about in comment sections and late-night debates, the one that always ended with a shrug and a sigh because time had already stolen the possibility. For years, the idea of Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano lived in the realm of fantasy, a dream matchup that belonged to a different era of women's MMA. But combat sports has a way of resurrecting the impossible, and now that ghost has taken shape. Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano are officially stepping back into a cage, not under the UFC banner, but on a global stage powered by Netflix and Jake Paul's Most Valuable Promotions, headlining a historic live MMA event at the Intuit Dome. It is more than a fight announcement. It feels like a rupture in time. To understand the magnitude of this moment, you have to rewind to when these two women were not just fighters, but forces of nature. Ronda Rousey was once the most terrifying presence in women's combat sports. She didn't simply win, she devoured opponents. There was a stretch where the question wasn't whether she would get her hand raised, but how quickly she would snap an arm and walk away. Her judo pedigree, forged through Olympic fire, translated into a sequence so brutally efficient it felt preordained. Clinch, toss, armbar, tap. It became ritual. She carried herself with the aura of inevitability, the kind that made champions look like placeholders. But dominance breeds pressure, and pressure eventually finds cracks. The head kick from Holly Holm in Melbourne shattered more than a jaw. It shattered invincibility. The loss to Amanda Nunes was even harsher, a 48-second unraveling that exposed hesitation where there had once been fury. After that night, Rousey disappeared from the cage, her narrative rewritten by critics who questioned her resilience and her ability to handle defeat. She found new stages and new spotlights, but the silence of the octagon lingered like unfinished business. Across the timeline stands Gina Carano, the original face of women's MMA. Before the pay-per-view headliners and million-dollar contracts, Carano was the golden figure who drew curious eyes to a sport still fighting for mainstream acceptance. Competing under banners like Elite XC and Strikeforce, she blended Muay Thai precision with a charisma that transcended the cage. Her bout against Chris Cyborg in 2009 marked a historic milestone, but the defeat that followed became her final chapter in MMA. She pivoted to Hollywood, stepping into films and eventually landing a major role in The Mandalorian, seemingly closing the book on fighting for good. Now, years later, both women return not as reigning champions, but as legends seeking closure. The partnership with Netflix transforms this from a simple comeback into a cultural experiment. This is not about selling traditional pay-per-view buys. It is about placing two pioneers in front of a global subscriber base and testing whether star power can eclipse rankings and belts. With Jake Paul orchestrating the spectacle, the event becomes as much about narrative as it is about technique. Technically, the fight at 145 pounds is a subtle but crucial detail. Rousey once ruled at bantamweight, cutting down to 135, while Carano often competed closer to featherweight. The added weight spares Rousey a draining cut, but places her opposite a naturally larger striker. Stylistically, it is the timeless grappler versus striker equation. Rousey's path remains clear. Close distance, secure the clinch, execute the throw, isolate the arm. Judo is muscle memory, and if she gets the fight to the mat, history suggests danger for anyone beneath her. But the ghosts of past knockouts hover over her striking defense. Her tendency to charge forward with minimal head movement proved costly before, and reflexes rarely sharpen with age. Carano, known for crisp combinations and punishing kicks, thrives at range. If she can maintain distance and punish entries, she forces Rousey into the very exchanges that once unraveled her confidence. The first clean punch may determine more than momentum. It may test the psychological scars left behind. For Carano, the question is different but equally daunting. 17 years have passed since she last fought. Ring rust is not a myth. Timing, cardio, and the chaos of live combat cannot be simulated. 5 rounds under bright lights is a crucible. If the fight stretches beyond an explosive first round, conditioning and composure will dictate survival. The spectacle surrounding the event only amplifies the stakes. The Intuit Dome will host not just a bout, but a statement about the future of sports broadcasting. Netflix's reach promises unprecedented viewership, and Jake Paul's flair for promotion guarantees theatrical buildup. Yet, when the cage door locks, none of that matters. It becomes primal again. 2 women, 1 canvas, 25 minutes of truth. This fight exists outside divisional politics. It is not about rankings or titles, it is about legacy. Back in 2014, there were murmurs that this matchup nearly materialized under different circumstances, only for negotiations to falter. Now it resurfaces as a bridge between eras, a reminder of how far women's MMA has traveled. These 2 athletes absorbed criticism, skepticism, and cultural resistance so that future generations could headline without controversy. And that's what makes this comeback so compelling. Rousey seeks redemption, a final note that erases the humiliation of her exit. Carano seeks reclamation, a return to the identity that first defined her. Both gamble with their histories. A decisive win cements mythology. A one-sided loss invites revisionism. There is no script here, no predetermined outcome, only consequence. Imagine the walkouts, the roar of the crowd, the electricity of anticipation as decades of debate crystallize into seconds of action. Whether it ends in a lightning-fast submission, a stunning knockout, or a grueling war that pushes both to exhaustion, the image of them facing off will resonate. It will symbolize a full-circle moment for a sport that once doubted women could carry it. So now the question shifts to you. Who takes it when the queens return to reclaim their thrones? Does Rousey's judo still reign supreme, or does Carano's striking carve a new ending to an old story? Share your prediction in comments. Tell us which scenario you see unfolding, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss the next chapter in combat sports history. The cage is waiting, the kingdom is watching, and this time, the ghost is finally real.